Centennial is this great spot that runs from Littleton all the way over to Aurora and just does not get quite enough love when it comes to house hunting. So today we are talking about my 3 favorite neighborhoods in Centennial. And as you can tell, we're doing it a little bit different. We are in my car because it just will not stop raining. We are going to have an amazing summer. I think one of the coolest on record in quite a long time, but the rain cannot stop us from doing videos. So hey everybody, here we go talking about Centennial today. It is Alyson with Live South Denver, your real estate strategist and realtor for the South Denver area. First up, we are in Knolls. This beautiful house behind me is one of these homes in Knolls. Most of the homes in here were built in the 70s, some of them in the 60s. They are full of character. One of the reasons people really love Knolls, and we're going to talk about the neighborhood that is like, you can't even barely tell the difference, the Knolls, is all of the character in the homes, this big park that is right next door, the neighborhood school, the elementary school that is right in here, so you can kind of walk the kids to school if you live close enough to it. These big trees, because these homes have been around for so long, and the larger lots. So many folks want a home with character and a little elbow room. And when we get into these new construction homes that don't have character until you put it in, you get these really tiny lots. You're like 5 feet from your neighbor within your lot line. They're 5 feet, so 10 feet max. And all you're left with for privacy is what your backyard offers. And now with density rules, sometimes we're getting 5,500 square foot lots, 5,200 square foot lots. My gosh, some of these front yards have 5,200 square feet. So the really big draw in this area is just all the lifestyle you get within your footprint of your house. On top of that is location. So Knolls and the Knolls is bounded by Arapahoe Road, Dry Creek Road, University, and Colorado. So it sits a little bit on the west side of Centennial. However, that commute to get into the tech center and into downtown really is shortened up compared to moving into one of the southern suburbs like Highlands Ranch, definitely Castle Rock, certainly Parker as well. So by being in Centennial, which is just south of the tech center, you really do cut down on commute time into work areas like the tech center and downtown if you aren't a fully remote employee. The Knolls Park, as I mentioned, is a really big and popular park. It's right across from the neighborhood elementary school, so lots of open space, some ball fields. And then when you get outside the neighborhood, it's right next to DeCoven Park, which is a huge, really popular play area. It has a little stream that kids go play in. Our kids loved to go there when they were kids. We would all get together with a bunch of friends. They'd go catch little snakes and frogs and pollywogs and spend the entire day in there. And the nice thing about that stream is it is covered with a lot of big tall trees, so the kids weren't getting sun damage. They have playgrounds, more open space. It's a place where they do other big events. They do jogs and runs and 5Ks in that park. So that park is one where families really go and leverage outdoor activity time for everyone. Right across from DeCoven Park is the South Glen shopping area. So you've got restaurants, retail, the Whole Foods is there, and that is literally a stone's throw from the Knolls and Knolls. Homes in Knolls run about 2,100 square feet to a little over 4,200 square feet. And price-wise, wide gamut, $500,000 to about $1 million. It really is going to depend on size, if it's been redone, what street it's on. There are some streets where these homes are just dynamic and beautiful, and they have been remodeled, new windows. You can just tell just by looking at it. It's a really spectacular home. Then you go down some streets and all the homes on that street are smaller. They're almost all single level, and you can tell by looking at it, it really needs some love and attention still. Knolls has a reputation that precedes it for being incredibly family friendly. Just over my shoulder is the Knolls pool. They do family night there. They have pool parties there. This is really a pretty tight-knit community if you want to get involved in it, where everybody starts to really know each other. So that reputation gets out when people learn, they move to the area, they have friends that are in this neighborhood, and people say, come be my neighbor, you want to be in this community. So that is part of what drives up the price and the value over here. In addition, there is only a voluntary HOA, which some people really love, because you don't have all of the HOA rules and restrictions, And when you drive around, you'll see that most people really do keep up their homes. So sometimes there's a concern. I don't have an HOA in my neighborhood. It's really going to go to pot. That is certainly not what you see here. Okay, so we made a quick transition over here to the Knolls. I wanted to get in front of a home in the Knolls and show you the very different architectural style. Take a look at what I call the sunroof. It's the open wood slats over the front door area. Sometimes they'll put it over a different part of the house, but many of the homes have this architectural style to it. So I find it to be just a very different look and feel. Now, the Knolls is gorgeous. One thing I really love about the streets in here is almost all of them loop. So we go into a circle and then off of that, this is kind of like Rowley Downs if you've watched any of my other videos. Off of that you have a chute and then a loop. So everybody has almost a private little nook for a street, which is great for little traffic, kids to go off and ride bikes, or just quiet privacy. Love that street design. And then when you add in these really big mature trees, you get nice shade, nice cool streets, great front porches in the summertime. Love it. This is kind of quirky though, so you really have to like it. I actually haven't seen any of the homes have it removed, so I don't think the HOA is letting there be any kind of facade remodel. They're kind of sticking with this design and keeping it. Now, maybe they are, but I haven't seen a lot of homes do away with it. That's probably the one downside, because in a lot of communities you can come in and kind of rework the front, but this is definitely a statement look, so you have to like it. Also, the siding is wood siding in here, and a lot of it is vertical. Wood siding requires a lot of maintenance over time. Now, we are a nice dry climate, not right now, hence me being in my car, but generally it's very dry here, so wood siding is not that hard to deal with or maintain. But it does generally require a lot more paint, a lot more caulking. You have to be a little more diligent with it than that hardy board type siding that many newer homes have. You could do a hardy board siding if you wanted to replace that. However, finding something that's going to go vertical and stick with what the HOA has for look and appearance might be a little bit more work in here. Now, the Knolls has a great HOA setup. They've got tennis courts, pickleball, pool. I'm actually sitting where I can see the tennis courts from here. Really beautiful access to open space and trails. Even with this sunroof style of architecture in here, these homes run from $600,000 to $1 million. And you're looking at homes that are 2,200 to 3,800 square feet. So the largest homes are generally even a little bit smaller than you'll find over in Cherry Knolls, which is just to the north. So clearly there is something very desirable about being over here in the Knolls, because we are still hitting roughly the $1 million mark for homes that are a little bit smaller. It could be their HOA, the amenities, the pool, the tennis courts. I am sitting right here where I can see the tennis courts. Absolutely, they have so many great things to do and access in this community. The Knolls is directly adjacent to Big Dry Creek Trail and then connects right to the Highline Canal Trail. The Highline Canal Trail runs through Denver, Denver. So you get great access to trails and nature here. And they do a load of events with their 4th of July parade. They'll do a newcomers party. They do pool parties. They do food trucks, all sorts of things. So it is a pretty lively community as well, pretty welcoming. And I know that's one of the things that I find with a lot of my transplants is they're wanting a community where they feel like they have a chance to plug in and meet people. Both Cherry Knolls and the Knolls feed into the Littleton Public School District. We'll talk about schools when we pop into each of these neighborhoods. For the high school over here, it is generally Arapahoe High School in Littleton Public Schools. All right, we are going to head off to neighborhood number 2. By the way, these are in no particular order. I am actually just going from west to east. Okay, we are in neighborhood number 2, Homestead in the Willows. I actually love all of the Homestead neighborhoods. The reason I picked Homestead in the Willows is because this particular one feeds into the Cherry Creek High School neighborhood and all the Cherry Creek school neighborhoods. And that is often a very popular request for a lot of people, in particular being able to get their kids into Cherry Creek High School. So Homestead in the Willows is my number 2 pick. Again, I said I'm not ranking them in order. We're just moving from west to east. And this one moves us out of the Littleton School District into the Cherry Creek School District. Now, again, I am still stuck in the car. You guys cannot believe how much rain we are getting. So you get a little bit of a glimpse of this gorgeous home behind me. Of course, I'm going to drive around and give you some more footage of this amazing neighborhood. I also have done a video just on the Homestead neighborhoods, so you can check that one out as well, and you'll get more in-depth info on all of this area. I love Homestead. All of them. There are pools, there are trails, there are activities and events. You can walk to the school, particularly here in this area where you feed to Homestead Elementary itself and not into the newer school, which is one where you would drive to when you're in some of the other Homestead neighborhoods. Now, the new school is pretty popular because it is kind of restructured. They have a little bit different philosophy. They're not really into the homework kind of piece of things for the elementary school. So there is some pluses to going to the brand new school. I mean, a new building, that is a big one. But this one, people really like the fact that you get all of the parents and their kids riding, biking together, and you're building community in that way. The pool has swim teams and swim leagues. There's the tennis court and tennis league. So there's really just a lot of community that gets built into being in a Homestead community. Size-wise, these homes are 2,300 square feet to about 4,400 square feet. There's a few that go larger. Price point wise, you're in about the $600,000 range on the low end and over the $1 million range on the high end. They can go to $2 million. Generally, $2 million is the very large home fully redone. But to get to 1,617, if you're backing to open space, it's a larger floor plan, maybe that third garage bay, and top-notch remodeled is not unheard of in here. So a really wide range of price points. Again, go check out the video that I've done and you'll get the full lay of the land. Let's go get some touring of what these homes look like as a reminder. We have made it to neighborhood number 3. We are in Piney Creek in Centennial, way over on the east side. We are east of I-25. I love this neighborhood. There are about 10, maybe a few more sub neighborhoods over here in Piney Creek, which means you have a lot of choice in size of home, style of home. There are some really large grand footprints for homes over here and some more modest homes for sure. The smaller homes start around 2,200 square feet, and when I'm talking grand homes, there are homes over here in the 7,000 square foot range. Now, price-wise, you are absolutely getting more home for your money if you go over here to the east side. Homes over here start in the $500,000 range on the low end. You're probably looking more in the high 6s, mid 7s for an average size home. But on the high end, generally they're only in the mid 1.5 range. So when you're looking at a 6,000, 7,000 square foot house, you are not in the $3 million range. So there is a lot of house to be had for the money over here. Commuting into the tech center and downtown is not quite as easy, but certainly not a big challenge. Because you're east of I-25, you have to get over onto Arapahoe Road if you want to go into the tech center, or you're going north on Parker Road and using 225 possibly to get into downtown. I try to encourage my folks to avoid those if possible. If they have to commute into those areas, they really do get quite heavily congested. However, if you work at, say, Buckley Air Force Base, or you work remotely and you fly in and out of the airport a lot, so you want to be closer to the airport, this is a sweet spot to consider. Lifestyle over here is great. You have loads of retail, restaurants, opportunities for shopping and conveniences right nearby. You've got the Costco that's right down on that Parker Centennial border, really close by. Whole Foods is going in there. Trader Joe's already exists. The reservoir, the Cherry Creek Reservoir, is right here. When you leave this neighborhood, if you don't already have views from your home, the views are spectacular. So this is a really nice area where when you are driving in, around, and through, you get the white peaks, the whole front range, which is one of the reasons people love being here, right? The opportunity to see the mountains. Inside the neighborhood, there is clubhouse, pool, trails, basketball, pickleball, all sorts of things to do within the community. The HOA really runs a nice tight ship in terms of amenities, and they really are kept up very well. They do food trucks, activities. They have a holiday light fight, or really they're just giving awards. It's probably not a fight, but there is something fun to having that competition piece among neighbors. And just like over in Homestead, this is part of the Cherry Creek School District. However, the high school feeder here is not into the Cherry Creek High School. It is to Smoky Hill High School. Another reason this area is popular is because it is very close to Regis Jesuit High School, which is a very, very popular private high school on this side of town. So if you're looking at private schools, there are numerous ones dotted all across kind of the central lower part of Denver, South Denver area. But if you want to have a close commute to the Regis High School, this is an area that really has just, I mean, it's like a 5-minute commute. So it makes it popular for that reason. These homes would be the newer homes out of all the neighborhoods we've seen today. As we move from west to east, we move from oldest to newest. Cherry Knolls and the Knolls were 1960s and 70s. The Homestead houses are all roughly 1970s. And then Piney Creek is started in the 80s, and they have been built all the way into the early 2000s. So if age of home is important to you, which it is for a lot of my folks, they care very much about when the electrical was done. They care very much about code, style, ceiling height. These are going to be your newer homes. They're going to have fewer of the things that are concerning in that way in terms of construction. So this would be the area you'd want to look at for that. The reason I love Piney Creek is really the variety of home, the value of home, the size of home, the style of home, variety, all of that for a really great price. The trees are not quite as mature over here because the homes are newer, but you really do get some nice sized streets, big trees, good sized lots at a really good value for the area. And you are still in that South Denver area. You're close to everything. You've got great retail access. So I find that for my folks who are looking for kind of everything, they want to tick all the boxes, especially if they don't want new construction. When you're trying to hit all of those pieces and you want an established neighborhood at a really great price, and we're trying to stay under $800, under $750, This is a spectacular area, particularly because of all the amenities. The opportunity to get in and have a babysitter list, a couple pools, some trails, courts, all of those things, cul-de-sacs, curve outs, places to park cars and have a spot to teach kids how to ride bikes. I love what this neighborhood has to offer. All right, you have seen my 3 favorite neighborhoods in Centennial, which is certainly an underrated community for house hunting. It sits just south of the tech center, keeps your commutes pretty short into both the tech center and downtown. You feed either into the Littleton or Cherry Creek school districts, typically when you live in Centennial, which is a win either way. So if you want to chat more about Centennial, moving into South Denver, any of these neighborhoods, please reach out. You know I always love to chat. And I will see y'all next week.